Hello, dear friend. You are watching the astrology prediction for 2021 for people who have their sun or rising sign in Scorpio. Very interesting, hopefully very different year from what we experienced during 2020. And I truly believe that it will bring us the change that we all need. We will talk about the social planets, how they can change the overall picture for you during 2021, also the outer planets, the retrograde phases of Venus and Mercury, and eclipses and lunar nodes. So you will be fully prepared for 2021 after you watch this video. And I also have a gift for you. The January 2021 astrology calendar is completely free. Check the link below. You can download it as a PDF and also add it to your Google Calendar. We have a full Google Calendar integration. I'm really proud of that. And if you like it, you can get the full version for the whole year, which also comes with an in-depth webinar. So links are below for more information. Check them out. And let's get started with Jupiter, the planet of abundance and growth and success. Always exciting to talk about Jupiter. And during most of the year, Jupiter will be in Aquarius in your fourth house, which can bring you some new opportunities when it comes to your home, your family, and your personal life. Honestly, I remember when Jupiter was in my fourth house, I moved out of my parents' house. I had my own apartment, and my father also had Jupiter in his fourth house at that point. And for him, actually, there was just like more space at home. So seriously, this is also an option that you can either move to a bigger or better place, or the circumstances at home may improve, or sometimes another member of your family moves out, so now you have more space at home. Those are really valid options. And overall, with Jupiter in the fourth house, you can improve your home, or the place where you live. You can move, you can relocate, and you can also have some positive events related to family members, maybe a new family member, or for some people, this could be settling down, or other type of important changes that are related to your personal life. We need to mention that Jupiter will square Uranus during January, and it triggers fourth and seventh house. And this is a significant change that triggers your personal life. Fourth house is the family home atmosphere. Seventh house, this is your relationship or your marriage. And there could be a drastic change in this area. For example, if you're unhappy with your marriage, you may finally put the end of it and move out, or decide that you won't live anymore in this situation. So it could be a drastic change. It's not necessarily very simple, but it can be very liberating. So think about it. What needs to be changed in your personal life that triggers both your relationship or your marriage and your home and family, or family members? Sometimes those could be just confrontations between the relatives and your partner, or all kinds of other combinations. We also need to mention that Jupiter will be in your fifth house part of the year, between the middle of May and the end of July. Jupiter is in the fifth house. The rest of the year, it's in the fourth house. So during those couple of months, during the summer, Jupiter will be very beneficial for you. First of all, it will be in Pisces, which is a very comfortable, really strong position for Jupiter, which makes it more beneficial. And also, it will trine your ascendant, especially if your ascendant is in the first couple of degrees of Scorpio, or your sun sign is there. And it's a great time for expanding, doing something new, feeling more optimistic, improving your confidence, finding more love in your life. Also, the children team looks very promising because of this position. And also finding new things that you love doing, that you enjoy, that you are passionate about. Next, we need to talk about Saturn. And interestingly enough, Saturn is also in your fourth house, together with Jupiter. So from one side, Jupiter brings the desire to expand and grow and to just be more optimistic. On the other side, Saturn knocks on your door and tells you you need to be practical, you need to be responsible, very grounded, especially when it comes to your home and your family situation. It's quite important here to check the exact degrees. Saturn will be between the 2nd and the 14th degree of Aquarius during the year. And if your sun or rising sign is around those degrees, basically in the first half of the sign of Scorpio, it means that Saturn will square your sun or rising sign. And if you're not sure about degrees and your own situation, you can use my free birth chart calculator through the link below and see what happens in your chart. If you find that Saturn squares your sun or rising sign, those could be some challenging testing periods when you might be provoked, you might feel kind of limited in some way, or you may feel like you can't do everything that you want to, maybe because you have responsibilities, maybe because you need to pay more attention to your family members, or there's just something out of your control that you need to respect. With Saturn, it's always about responsibility, being consistent, and also being very reasonable in your decisions. And we need to talk about also the square between Saturn and Uranus. It will happen during February, June, and December. And it will trigger again 4th and 7th house. And as we already talked about it, those are the houses of your personal life, the family situation and the relationship and marriage situation. For some people, there could be a crisis in those areas, or a sudden desire for a change, or just things that need to be restructured and transformed in a very serious way. So be careful in this area of your life. You may find also that you tend to confront others, or you have a really strong desire to control things or change them. So overall, the family and the relationship area are important, and you may experience unexpected changes or some kind of challenges, specifically during those 3 months, February, June, December. Talking about Uranus, we need to mention also the exact degrees, because Uranus is actually in a pretty important position for you, Scorpio. Uranus is in the opposite sign, which means that there might be an opposition with your sun or rising sign. It's the case if your sun or rising sign is somewhere around the degrees of between the 7th and the 15th degree, plus minus 1-2 degrees. Again, check the calculator below to make sure if that's the case for you. And if Uranus makes opposition with your sun sign, those are pretty intense personal changes. Something that needs to be destroyed, something you need to transform about yourself, your plans, your vision. For women, this might trigger their relationship with male figures in their life, the parent, the father, or the partner. And it's time to experiment. It's time to try new things, to open yourself for changes, for new things, for experiments, and for more variety. The important thing here is to be open for the change. If you try to keep everything the way it is right now, it might feel really uncomfortable. So open up for the change and for the transformation. And if Uranus is moving through the cusp of your 7th house, so That's the case if the cusp of your 7th house is between the 7th and the 15th degree in Taurus. This can also bring a serious, big, drastic change in your personal life. For some people, this could be separation, divorce, or some other unexpected situation in their relationship. For other people, this could be falling in love with a very interesting, extraordinary person. Usually things happen really fast with Uranus and unexpectedly. And also Uranus triggering your 7th house may bring you the opportunity to have a more spiritual relationship. And this can really allow you to bring your relationship to another level. But it's not a promise. So it really depends on how you use the energy. But the chances are there, and it can be really transformative when it comes to you and the important person in your life, your partner. Next, we have Neptune. Neptune is in the 5th house, supporting your sign. There is a trine between Pisces, where Neptune is, and Scorpio, which is good news. And it's especially important actually to check the degrees. Neptune will be between the 19th and the 24th degree in your 5th house. If the cusp of your 5th house is around those degrees, it can be very romantic. It can be, very warming energy that you can experience. And we need to mention that with Neptune, things are never simple. From one side, it may feel like, okay, you are really deeply in love with someone or something in your life, but you can get misled, you can get confused. Sometimes Neptune might bring love triangles or other complications. When it comes to creativity, Neptune is amazing. It's a great time to focus on art, music, creativity, anything that you love, opening up your heart, maybe taking care of children or other people that you really love. And if Neptune trines your ascendant or sun sign, which means that the sun or rising sign needs to be between those degrees, 19, 24, plus minus 1, but in Scorpio, Neptune will be your friend during the year. Very supportive, very harmonious position that can make you more intuitive, more compassionate, and more creative. I'm a fan of Neptune, I admit that. So yeah, I think that you can really benefit from this, especially if you are a sensitive, spiritual person or creative person. And finally, Pluto, which is in Capricorn in your 3rd house, between 25th, 27th degree. Check the cusp of the house. If Pluto crosses the cusp of your house, which won't be the case for everyone during 2021, but if that's you, then Pluto can transform your way of thinking, can change dramatically your friendships, your communication with people, your ideas, and you may just look at things from a different perspective. If Pluto has an aspect with your sun or rising sign, that's the case if the sun or rising sign are between 25th, 27th degree in Scorpio, then this is a sextile, very positive aspect, very empowering aspect, and also quite important one because Pluto is the ruler of Scorpio. So really intense periods of transformation. It's a smooth, not very drastic transformation because you would have the sextile aspect, but you can also change your way of thinking. Moving on to eclipses and nodes. The lunar nodes will be in your 2nd and 8th house. The North Node is in your 8th house, which is the area where you need to focus on. This is where you need to grow, to expand. And it's about exploring the invisible, the secret world, doing some kind of research, or maybe focusing on some energy practices, some healing practices. Financially also, this may mean you need to rely more on other people financially, on your partner or other close people. You may want to focus on some investments as well. And the South Node is in your second house, which means that you need to be less attached to material things. Let go, get rid of things that you don't need in your life, things that you don't use. If you have some serious attachment towards money and resource, you may also need to work on that and let it go. The eclipses. So the May eclipse, this is the first one, triggers your 8th and 6th house, 8th and 2nd house. So you need to find the balance between your resources, between how much you take and how much you give. Then the June eclipse triggers the North Node and your 8th house, which means focus on the future, a new version, a new vision. Also very important for investments or financial stuff, and also for research or exploring something, and also for healing. The November eclipse triggers 7th and 1st house, which is about your own actions and your relationships. You need to find the balance in those areas. You need to change maybe things or let certain things go. And the last December eclipse triggers your sorry, there is a mistake here. So it triggers second house, and it's about letting things go, especially when it comes to material possessions. One exercise I really enjoy is to throw away things that you don't need. Each day, 10 things a day for 10 days. So you are throwing away just things that you don't use, things which are unnecessary, but you are still keeping them at home or at your office, wherever you are. So get rid, separate with those things, open up the space for new energy and new things to come. And finally, we have the retrograde phases of Venus and Mercury. Venus will be retro at the very end of the year, after the 19th of December, and it will be in your 3rd house, which means that you may need to reconsider your communication with friends, with siblings or other relatives, also your ideas, your plans, and you may find yourself more emotional, sometimes potentially even overreacting when it comes to those areas. So changes may come, you may reassess, reconsider things, and also you may restart some ideas or projects which you have started in the past. For whatever reason you have stopped them, now you can restart. And also Venus in 3rd house may trigger education or the need to improve your skills, your knowledge, especially if there is something you haven't finished, maybe a training, maybe a course. Now you can finish it. And finally, Mercury retrograde. We have 3 cycles. And it's interesting that Mercury will be retrograde only in the air signs, and it won't change positions. Once Mercury starts the retrograde phase, it will remain retrograde in the same sign until the end of the year, which is kind of a rare thing actually to happen during the 3 phases of we have this year. Mercury will trigger 4th, 8th, and 12th house, which are the emotional houses. Those are the deep personal houses that are related to more private themes. So you may need to work more on emotional matters, on things that are personally important for you, more private things. You can check here the exact dates, the exact positions, but overall, you need to remember that Mercury triggers your personal life and the private areas, the psychological things, emotional areas as well. So that's your prediction for 2021. As you can see, we have lots of changes, interesting transformations, and hopefully a much better 2021. Don't forget to download your free January calendar. And if you like it, you can get the full version for the whole year. We also have a full Google Calendar integration, which is amazing. And we have a full in-depth webinar for the year, which will prepare you even better. It was a pleasure for me to share this information with you. I will see you next time.